The world absolutely sucks. Going outside, you are guaranteed to run into some form of problem, and that problem will probably make you want to retreat and isolate yourself into your little online communities. However, the moment you start thinking it is all over is the moment when your worst fears win. It is not over yet. We do not live in this cyberpunk dystopia where everything has just gone out of control. We have time to change this. It's just going to take a lot of work and a lot of people to fix this issue.
Hi, welcome to Pen and Thieves with Josh Mumby, and today I'm joined by Raziris.
Hi kids, got a question for you.
It's a YouTube channel that, as his description states, makes videos on issues going on in the world, usually topics pertaining to Gen Z. Our conversation today ranges from red pill, polarization, victim mentality, and the ways in which the internet is rotting our brains. So, with that out of the way, enjoy the show, and God bless. Do you think that, like, especially COVID, it really, like, made a lot of our issues that were probably bubbling below the surface really burst forth?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna be, like, 2040 by the time we finally recover from all of the ramifications that COVID did to us mentally. We're screwed. Like, we see all these issues of, like, men wanting to hop on this red pill stuff because they don't know how to, like, communicate anymore. Everyone's so broken. We see the rise in, like, for lack of better words, the hoes, because no one knows how to act normal anymore. And it probably was exacerbated so much by COVID.
Yeah. It is actually, like, pretty crazy because I narrowly escaped it, but I'm still pretty terrible at talking to people in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine, like, especially people who were, like, at home for, like, 2 years or maybe less, just on their phone the entire time. I don't know if anyone ever talks about that when they actually talk about how, like, maybe that's a reason why it's hard to actually get to know people and meet everyone. We're just so, like, bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know, tell me what you think, but I feel like a lot of times people present it as if, as if it's basically the world is the problem, which, I mean, there are flaws, but as if you can't do anything about it and you're just kind of like a helpless victim.
Yeah, everyone's like, not everyone. I refuse to believe that the world is screwed, but we have so many people now just taking this doomer mindset. I got on, actually, it was the Hoflation video, a comment of a guy who said that he had just given up on dating entirely and just focuses on, like, making money and spending time with his family. And I, like, genuinely felt horrible for, like, 20 minutes that, like, this guy's not, like, a one-off case. There are so many people out there that have just given up on communicating with people due to, like, one bad experience or not remembering how to communicate with people properly. And it's like, what do we do now? Because it's not like the problem's going to heal itself eventually. It's we need to do something, or this is just going to keep getting worse and worse. Like, cutting yourself off is one thing, but, like, people go insane when they get cut off.
Yeah. Okay, so from watching some of your videos, what would you say is kind of like your main sort of philosophy in regards to all the sort of problems of our age?
My outlook on everything would be that, like, it looks like it's over, but it ain't over yet. We can still save this. It's just going to take enough of us, and it's going to take the loudest of us to start speaking about it. Like, if we yell enough, eventually we'll get something done. Because the whole, like, well, I've been, like, really going, like, super schizo on, like, everything that's, like, the red pill movement lately, trying to figure out, like, why is this a thing? Why have we moved on from self-improvement into this really nasty, like, woman hating, reject society, I'm gonna be a top G super epic hustler, whatever the hell they think. Like, well, why is this happening right now? What happened to just, like, wanting to be better for the sake of being better? And that's kind of been what I don't know. My brain is kind of just like, I'll pick a topic and then go like super in depth on it until I don't want to think about it anymore. Like there was a good like 3 months where I just got this like very strong hatred towards dating apps and went on like this crusade onto like how awful is this, that this this one company, Match Group, has a monopoly on one of the largest growing ways that people our age communicate with people. And they use it to they have these algorithms set up in place to make as much money off of people as possible. And like, and that kind of comes back to the COVID thing. No one knows how to communicate off their phones anymore. So it's like they're totally banking right now on the fact that we are in an epidemic where no one knows how to be a real person. And this corporation is now profiting off of this, and it's getting worse and worse. I totally forgot what the original question was.
I think I was asking like what your kind of philosophy in a lot of this is.
Definitely that it's things are bad, but we're going to make them better. There's still hope to be found here.
Yeah, I think that definitely comes through in your videos where, so if I were to kind of summarize it, the gist of it seems like, yeah, the world's bad, but don't be pissy about it, you know, and like get up, go to the gym, you know, work on yourself, not for armor, so that, you know, not to like be, like a Sigma or anything, but to be a real man, you know? Yeah. Which I think is really cool. You know, it's the tendency I find is like no one tends to like call out a lot of the like, you know, what's it called? The red pill stuff. And they never actually just say explicitly like, yeah, you're being kind of weak, you know, or like if girls aren't talking to you, like you can do something about that. It's not because like, well, the world does suck, but it's not because you're a completely helpless victim or anything.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about that?
About which part?
I guess this tendency we now have to where like it feels like the same people, like the like red pill people who would have been like, awakened from the liberal lies and everything. Those same types of people are now like taking like a victim mentality.
Oh yeah. I saw this meme a while ago about the similarities between third wave feminism and the red pill movement. And it was some like Wojak like raging against a woman for like third wave feminism garbage, and then going absolutely like overjoyed with a picture of Andrew Tate right next to it. And it's like, that, bro, that's the same thing as third wave feminism, just for men. Like it is not any better. Like they're both like ruining the world.
Oh yeah. It's really crazy because like people, I mean, I just recently, this shows how like out of touch and old I am, but I just recently learned what a Sigma was. Like I knew colloquially, I knew like the term, but I didn't know that Sigma was like you're outside of the category or the hierarchy. I didn't know that. So like an alpha male gets all the girls, a Sigma male doesn't need women. You know, that's pretty like, okay, so this probably seems like a weird thing to say, but the idea of like being like, because humanity is wrapped up in both men and women. So the idea of, you know, and if you're a man, to be truly human is to also like live out what it means to be a man. And to be a man pretending as if women don't exist, that doesn't make any sense to me how you can like actually do that.
Yeah, like we need each other. We all need each other. I saw this other meme about there's the whole like growing split between men and women, how more men are becoming right leaning and women are becoming left leaning. And it's like, bro, every right wing man needs every right wing man who hates the government needs a left wing girlfriend who also hates the government, because like we complement each other. Yeah. It's not a bad thing to have contradicting opinions on something. You can still find happiness with someone that doesn't perfectly align with you on anything. It's not us. The two different sexes is not like having these different ideologies is not the end of the world, because eventually we have to coexist with each other, and we're gonna find a middle ground. Will there be some nasty arguing? Absolutely, but we're gonna come out with a better world in the end of it if we don't push each other away and just embrace hating each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, kind of going off of what you said, I think we should probably definitely turn our ire away from each other and towards the government.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I should cut that.
Any feds watching? I love the government. I love soy. I love drinking corn syrup.
Yeah, national anthem. That's a great song ever. Oh man, yeah. No, I think you're definitely right though. I feel like have you ever heard the term third spaces?
No.
No, it's like church would be like a third space, or a coffee shop would be. So the idea is that your home is the first space, and then your workplace is the second space. Third spaces are like the community places that everybody.
Yeah, a place to come together.
Yeah, so like, and I guess that could even mean like, because there used to be so many men's groups in like the 50s, 60s, era. People would go and just hang out, and women groups or whatever. We don't have any of those anymore. So now, like, our only communication with each other is either like, the only time we talk to people is at home or at work, and then online. Yeah. And then with all these algorithms, they always promote like the polarizing things. So we never learn how to like talk to people who aren't that different than us. And we're so used to seeing like, oh, if this person holds this belief, then they must be on the polar opposite of me. I don't know. What are you thinking about that?
I think you got a point there. Like, we need more. Community has definitely been broken down over time, and it's probably like one of the biggest contributors to why the world is like falling to this degenerate rot. We don't know how or what it means to be a community anymore. Like this one channel I really like a lot, Gerby Johnson, and he talks a lot about how community has been the fall of community in exchange for this online digital one has broken apart our ability to like actually communicate with people. In exchange, we have these people who act all high and mighty, like they know it all online, but like in real life, they don't have that much. They don't know how to communicate with people. They don't know how to like form genuine connections, stuff like that.
Yeah. It is really funny too. Like online, everything is a mic drop moment. And in real life, you try to do like a mic drop moment, then the other person's going to say something immediately.
Everyone's going to look at you weird. You try to do a mic drop moment in real life. Like, bro, go back to Twitter. That we're having a real conversation here.
Yeah. No, you can't quote like school the libs in real life in the way that you can over a TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like rotting our brains, all this sort of like, little clickbait, not even clickbait, those little short form, all this type of stuff where like our opinions are just like little tiny 7-second long segments.
Oh yeah.
And like actual conversations with people, but man, I don't know how to like, I'm not nervous or worried about the world, but I don't know what the next step is. 'Cause it seems like we're just kind of at each other's throats now. Like the fact that, it makes sense that people would be polarized over their political leanings. The idea that this has gone all the way down to like something as basic as gender is kind of insane to me. Yeah.
It was something I saw a while back, and I have been wanting to do more research into it for a while now, because I can't tell if it's just like right-wing cope on the thing I saw, or if it's like, does this guy have a point here? But I saw this one thing. It was like some clip from a podcast. Honestly, it might have been Joe Rogan, but something about societies start to fall apart and a sign that society is starting to fall apart is when so much emphasis is put on gender. And I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but they mentioned the Greeks doing that. And it's like, yeah, they definitely did. Well, they were definitely obsessed with gender and sexuality towards the end of their existence. Is this just a one-time thing, or is this something we can like Is this just a one-time thing, or is there like some actual correlation to this? My honest thinking with that is like there is so much emphasis put on gender now, and it's just become such a hot point. I'm honestly just thinking, why don't we just do away with the concept and just stick to biological sex? Because like, I mean, it would sure help doctors a lot trying to deal with that. It's just, if it's causing so much issue and it actually is a social construct, then why don't we just get rid of it and kind of just let the people do the people? I don't know what else we could do with it besides it's just gotten to this point where my kind of thinking that stems from like how like thrown off I'll get when someone uses like neo pronouns or something. It's
Have you
like,
heard that in real life?
I haven't heard it in real life, but I've definitely heard it a lot online. It's just like, and some of the words can be like, okay, I don't really know what to think about this. It's kind of like, where do we go at this point? And which led me to my thinking, maybe we just get rid of it entirely and just go off of biological sex.
Yeah, I think what you're saying earlier, that's Camille Paglia.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the one who says that. Yeah, no, it's interesting how like what you're saying. You know, you look at the sort of like landscape that we have now with this sort of tension between male and female and the manosphere and then feminism and whatnot. It seems like the conflict, it's going off of like assertions on what it means to be men, what it means to be women. And it's getting like divorced from the idea of like, well, at the base level of it, you know, you have your biological sex. And when you kind of escape that, then everything just sort of like is falling apart, you know, but.
Like, what does it mean to be anyone at this point? Like, if we can't establish like gender roles at like anything, then let's just at some point it might be time to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
There's this guy. His name's Rene Girard. You ever heard of him?
Believe I've heard of him. I'm not totally sure though. I couldn't name anything he does though.
So he was like a French philosopher, and he has this idea that at the like base of all like cultures, there's a founding myth of rival twin like brothers, and then he gives the example of Remus and Romulus. That's from, you know, the founding of Rome, or Cain and Abel. You know, that's the sort of founding myth of all humanity, or Jacob and Esau. And he like makes this idea that there's this sort of like warring strife between the two. And he says that whenever like two groups of people are most similar, or the more similar they are, the greater the desire to distinguish themselves from the other becomes. So which is why you'll notice that like civil wars tend to be the bloodiest of all wars, usually. And this is my theory. I think that that's what we have right now. So for the past like 30 some years of feminism and sexual revolution and whatnot, people have been saying that men and women are effectively the same thing, just different parts. And now people are kind of waking up to that and they're like, no, we're not. We're not different. You know, we're not the same thing. We're different. But we're in a world that's kind of like lost our sort of spiritual essence to it. So we don't really like, the world doesn't really know what it means to act womanly or to act manly. The only way we know how to distinguish ourselves now is through the obvious physical differences. So which is why there's a rise of hoflation and then a rise of the alpha male, like Giga Chad kind of stuff. So that's my theory.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that kind of, I'd say it disappoints me a little bit because it, you know, I feel kind of bad for like, you'll see these girls on like the Whatever podcast.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. And like no one, you kind of just get the, you know, yeah, they're dumb. They are kind of dumb, but no one ever told them like, you know, that's like a terrible way to live your life. You know what I mean? Like they were kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. The least common denominator of women. Honestly, I used to maybe like about a year ago believe in all that red pill garbage. and was totally like hook, line, and sinker in the like hypergamy, blah 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 blah. Women aren't smart, blah 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 blah. And then it's kind of like, no, that's not how the world works. You can't just generalize everyone in this group that you'll see on like the loudest tend to be the dumbest, which is hopefully something we can get rid of pretty soon and give the more moderate opinions a voice, because that's what we need. Like, we wouldn't have so many men thinking that these women we see on like TikTok with the like horrible opinions on like men needing to 6 figures, 6-pack, 6 feet. Like no, that is the least common denominator. It is so few and far between to run into, and like, the amount of people is growing because this stuff just gets repeated over and over again on all social media. Like, it's definitely getting bigger, but it's nowhere near as big as it's like hyped up to be, and it can still be turned around. It's not over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got a comment one time on a video where I said something about, like Daily Wire or whatever, probably like Brett Cooper or something. And the comment said something like, bro, who cares? All women want to do is like gold dig and like, or hump everything that lives or whatever.
Yeah, tell me you're chronically online without telling me you're chronically online.
Oh, no, that's exactly what that is. Because it's like, if you interacted with like real women in real life, you realize like that's a dumb take.
Like this man is clearly not going outside and talking to women.
It is like hard because I've talked to people, like not like that entirely, but who feel really burnt out by, the world and their prospects for dating. And then I'll say like, yeah, but you should, you don't have like a real job, that if you were to do that and maybe kind of, get your life together a little bit, maybe look a little better. And they just go, whatever.
No, I don't want to fix my problems. I just want to yell about all the things wrong in the world.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, so if you don't want to do anything, then like it doesn't make any sense why you'd complain about it,
Mm-hmm.
But no, you're right. It's such a so much of the problem is like people. I think I said earlier, like there's no third space that people go to where they interact with anyone other than family or their coworkers.
Yeah,
so they're not seeing like actual regular women their age. And not actually seeing like real people or anything. They're just seeing, like what you were saying, like the dumbest voices are the loudest ones. So we're just inundated by that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not out of control. But there definitely were occasional conflicts there. And I honestly, like, it kind of worries me that there are now a bunch of people, at least in my little local area, I'm worried that there are now people that have gotten introduced to this thing that's, for whatever reason, becoming much more prevalent in our generation now than it has in any other generation, that now see these groups of people and have this one first bad experience that they got during childhood of someone being absolutely infatuated by gender, and they're just going to believe everyone else is like that. Because I've met a bunch of other trans people over the last few years that haven't been like that. And it's just, okay, dear Lord, we're going to have people that just like genuinely hate each other over something really, really stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, so are you referring to like people who are, like people be hating people who are trans? Is that what you're referring to?
People hating trans people and trans people seeing right-leaning people as the enemy.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
Just general division between the two groups.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Yeah, does it ever like give you like pause and make you like a little uncomfortable? Remember that, was it the Nashville thing that happened? Where there's a person, they were trans. I think
the trans person was going to go into a Christian private school and shoot up the school.
Yeah, I think they killed a couple of people. And, the media, they like, at first they were hiding the fact that the person was trans.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. I remember that definitely a lot of, I think like it might have been Fox News that was like, they were like, they must have been so happy to find out the shooter was trans. But I do remember that the left-leaning media was trying to. I started tuning out of the news at around that time because I was just so sick of it.
Okay.
But I do remember that. I remember like this is going to become such a bigger deal than like every other shooting because this was a hate crime committed by the one side that's not commonly known for committing these types of hate crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's going to be like, oh dear Lord, what do we do now that both groups are doing it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I kind of wonder, like, do you think that people would be able to just accept the fact that maybe people will randomly just do this? It doesn't have to be like tied to their like groups.
I don't know. I think like whenever this happens, it's always tied to some like there is always some at least semi-political motive behind it. Like I did a lot of research back on a few months ago on Columbine to try to make a video on why people get radicalized to become killers. And even back then it was about some like super like schizoid ideology. And to this day that's still why they happen. I mean, we see more and more like Christchurch a while back was a white supremacist or white nationalist attack, I believe. And then we had the one in Nashville where it was this trans person taking out hate on a group of Christians who probably didn't do anything to them. They all have some at least semi-political motive, and I don't think that's gonna change. And it's hard to figure with like school shooting. It's such a hard thing to deal with because like we're not the only country to still have gun laws like these, yet for some reason we are the one having the most problems with people deciding that we're going to go into a school with a gun. It's like, how do we solve that issue? Because, and my personal opinion on that, it's the internet that radicalizes us so hard now. It's not the guns' fault. We've had guns in this country since we founded it, yet now all of a sudden, since the internet started to grow more popular, these start popping up. Like, I really wish I like had the know-how to do a study that could try and prove this point. But I really feel like there's got to be a really strong connection to the internet growing and the rise in school shootings.
Mm-hmm. I've heard, do you know who Malcolm Gladwell is?
No.
He wrote the book Outliers. He's kind of like a popular writer.
I have heard of that book.
Oh, okay, yeah. It might have been the book The Tipping Point, is one of his earlier books, where he wrote that a lot of the shootings are like a contagion. So, and I think what you're saying, it can be connected to the internet or the rise of the internet. So people learn about a school shooting, and then the idea of shooting at the school is now lodged into their head. So
the reason that the feds didn't release two of the Columbine tapes were because they were so worried that what they had in that tape was going to inspire more people to shoot up the school or shoot up schools. And I was like horrified. I'd be like, what could scare the feds so hard that like, God, how long has it been now? Like 30-ish years since that shooting that they still will not put that in public domain for us to see. That must be horrifying.
Oh yeah. Well, like I actually have the book that they wrote, their journals, not their actual journals, but I have a book that's like transcribed of their journals, Dylan and Eric, I think. And, yeah, they're crazy people.
Yeah.
They're just, so, and I can probably understand that. Like, imagine if there was a video on the internet of them killing students, and then you're going to have some like edgelord, let's just be honest, like loser teenagers are they're going to watch it on Live Leak and think that it's really funny. And then they're going to be desensitized to the idea of killing people. And they're like, what if I shot, all those dumb popular students or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see the idea of like the internet definitely like making that sort of contagion much worse than it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
But the I'm trying to find a way to connect this all and like tie it together. um, if I were to probably like tie this all in a knot, I'd probably say the internet's pretty cringe and
Real.
Yeah, and you should probably like go outside and like touch grass and stuff. And
So many of the world's issues could be solved by just going out and touching grass for like 20 minutes a day.
Yeah, like this is my favorite piece of advice I've ever heard people say. Even though maybe it's not for everybody, but buy land, get married young, have a bunch of kids, and don't get a computer.
Real.
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, like if I just lived life as if it were a Little House on the Prairie, I feel like that'd be much more peaceful than, which is what we're all doing now.
Yeah, you turn off the news and suddenly there are no more problems.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is really crazy how, like, I used to be really into politics. I'm not.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm married, and I got married in 2022, and which is a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got married, it was the week when I don't know who, the feds or whatever, they raided Mar-a-Lago, Trump's estate. So up until this point, I'm like listening to like Tim Pool, his 2-hour long show. I'm listening to it every morning at work, the whole 2.5 hour show. And I'm also listening to like Jimmy Dore. You know Jimmy Dore?
No.
He's another, he's like a more left leaning, political guy, but I'm trying to get like a balanced perspective and whatever. And I'm just listening to all these like politics, probably 4 hours a day. And then when they raid Trump's house, and then my wife and we go on our honeymoon, I decide I'm not going to listen to any politics or anything over this, week-long trip. We come back and there's no new information about the whatever documents they seized. And yet everyone's still talking about it. And I realized, this is just a complete waste of time. There's no reason to even because you think you're being informed, but you're just being distracted the whole time. None of it's even worth it.
Yeah, I've totally just given up on thinking that politics are going to be the thing that saves the world. They're like, we can't do anything. We're stuck in the same position. We have been since maybe the 70s. Like, we can't do anything now. If the world's going to change, it's going to come from a social movement. And that's like one of the reasons that got me to start doing YouTube like this. Because like, I hate the world. I hate the way things are. I want them to be better. And, I could either like try and go off into politics and do whatever over there and get absolutely nothing done. Or I can try and speak to an audience, get it large enough to get a genuinely big group of people to all like want to change things. Change is going to come from a social movement. Politics can't do anything to try and change the world. They can try, but nothing ever gets done. Nothing ever changes. So we've got to do it ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that makes sense because a lot of times people get so caught up on like, oh, let's legislate this or let's legislate that. And most of what happens is like, okay, so think of like the civil rights era, right? So, it wasn't like laws that made people like think that racism was bad. It was more so that like the racism fell out of favor and then they put a law on it.
Yeah.
And that's usually how most things happen. But in order for that change to happen, people have to like kind of go against the grain or step out and say, hey, we should do this. And then eventually people follow. And then that's how you get the ball rolling. So I agree with what you're saying, and I think it's a good point. Rather than trying to focus on like the political aspect, more so it starts at a personal, relational, and a human level. And I think you're doing a good job at that with your videos. I actually
thank you.
No, I think that if I make a prediction, probably in like a year, you could probably be at like 10K, maybe.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I think so. It's pretty good. You've got some, decent numbers on some of the videos already. But yeah, no, you're pretty good at it, and it's you're doing pretty good. So
yeah, this wasn't my first channel. I got the experience behind me. First channel I peaked at around 30K. And it was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to change the world or something stupid like that.
Oh, this isn't your first channel?
No, my first one I did for like 3 years. I played, you know what Splatoon is? It's a Nintendo game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Played that. I was
right?
super into that during my high school years. Made a YouTube channel off of that, and it was kind of just like I really like doing YouTube and would like to keep doing it. But if I play this kids game for another 20 minutes, I'm going to start bashing my head against the wall. I want to do something that actually matters.
Yeah, that's cool. It is very cool. Yeah, Splatoon. That's the one with paint, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That is right. Yeah. Well, see that makes a lot of sense because your videos are like put together oddly well for, like I'm not saying this in like a bad way, but like for like a lower subscriber count, they're put together really well.
Yeah. This one ain't my first rodeo. Now I get to actually know how I'm gonna pull this off.
So 30K. Why didn't you just like, transfer from your previous
audiences definitely wouldn't transfer over going from theories and speculation about what's going to happen in this game made for 10-year-olds to so how do we stop Redpill from starting the next civil war?
Yeah, imagine like your whole audience, they're like, they're 20 between 18 to 24 and they're playing this kids game or whatever, and they're probably like really big gamers, and then your next video is like, so guys, this is why video games are gay. You should probably not get video games, guys. You should get off the internet. And don't watch this video. This is stupid. You're dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I understand. That probably wouldn't go over very well.
Mm-hmm.
I had like a similar thing, although I have like 0 subscribers basically. But I initially started with like doing more political stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of good videos and they got like pretty decent numbers on it. And then I'm just transitioning into like more wholesome stuff. And it doesn't work very well, to go from talking about how, oh yeah, the liberals, the left,
everyone wants that spice. What I found is that like, there's got to be a way to like, and that's what I really saw with my hoflation video. It's like that's such a like vulgar topic, a vulgar, nasty way to pull people in, and the message ends really well that like we can totally fix this. It's all going to be okay. It's just that like. Man, I really feel a little guilty inside being so nasty about this, but if I can shift the opinion by the end that like this is a nasty thing, but we can have some positive outcome from it, then like it's all going to be worth it in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, earlier on in the video, you had some line where you're like, where you're talking about how the hoes are mad or whatever. And you said something like, I forget the exact line, but you ended up saying, is what I'd say if I were a red pill cuck.
Yeah.
Which like, okay, so it was that line. When I heard that, I was like, oh, I'd like to talk to this guy. This is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and I think it's that sort of like that hard stop, sort of that very quick transition there. It's where it's like, oh, no, this isn't supposed to be like a polarizing video. There's going to be nuance to this.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice. It was nice to see that.
Yeah. It's definitely possible to trick people from going hard on some belief into a nuanced take on it. It's difficult to do, but it's definitely possible to get people to turn off the monkey brain and actually think.
You did a good job with that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it is difficult to get people to turn off the monkey brain. It is really easy to like, really like, just watch shorts. All the shorts are just this sort of like lizard brain, monkey brain, kind of opinions. Where it's just, oh, this thing's bad. Or this thing's good. Women bad. Liberals bad. So then to actually do it in a video is nice. It's not reassuring. It's you don't see it a lot anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I feel like we're probably reaching a point to sort of start wrapping it up, though.
All right.
I'm trying to think of a good way to tie this all together. Like, what's a good thought, like a good little string to pull or whatever.
I got this one.
Okay.
The world absolutely sucks. Going outside, you are guaranteed to run into some form of problem. And that problem will probably make you want to retreat and isolate yourself into your stupid little online communities. However, the moment you start thinking it is all over is the moment when your worst fears win. It is not over yet. We do not live in this cyberpunk dystopia where everything has just gone out of control. We have time to change this. It's just going to take a lot of work and a lot of people to fix this issue. And it starts with just you, the viewer, making the choice to change something about your life, to change the way you think about something. You'll make it better. It'll just be hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I can add one thing to all that, which I think was really good, I will say it's pretty cringe to like blame the world for all your problems.
Mm.
And what I think the more, if we all care about being like Giga Chad and alpha male and whatever, I think the more Sigma Alpha Giga Chad thing to do is to, rather than like bully and like look down on women or other people who you view as are making the world what it is, I think the better thing would just be to like extend like love to them.
Mm-hmm.
And
love your neighbor. Simple message.
And forgive them. If you think that they've wronged you, forgive them. And I think that would make everything a little better.
Yeah, that Jesus guy was kind of cooking when he said that.
Yeah, I think he knew a thing or two about that.
He was so real for that.